Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Elizabeth Cohen, and I'm going to be your instructor for this course, COMM 655, Computer-Mediated Communication and Professional Identity. I have to really stop and think about what that is. It's not a title that I came up with on my own. This class was something I inherited from a professor who was here a long time ago and did a really great job teaching the course. I've taken a little bit from what she used to do and added in some of things from my own expertise. A lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about in terms of social identity and some media stuff is kind of like where the things that I do intersect with this class. But again, if you don't have any sort of background on that, no need to worry. Another thing I wanted to let you know right off the bat is that although we are going to be talking about social media in this class, I mean, computer mediated communication is kind of a fancy word for social media communication. Um, this class doesn't necessarily require that you do anything on social media. A long time ago, even though I've been teaching various classes in social media for a long time, I made the decision that I don't ever want to have students feel like they are required to do anything to their social media accounts because how we express ourselves online is so personal. And if you try to find me on social media, well, you can, but you'll see that in the past decade, I've gotten, further and further away from doing stuff on social media myself for various reasons. And so I don't want to impose that on anyone. The only sort of caveat to that is I do want you to sort of be able to apply the theories that we're talking about in the class to what other people are doing on social media, even if it's not necessarily something that you're doing. So at some point in the class, you will probably need to have access to some social media platform where you can observe what other people are doing, specifically maybe a social media influencer or something like that. But just to say that off the top, off the bat, I can't, easily summarize to you everything we're going to do in this class, but I can tell you what we're not going to do. And you don't have to worry about actually having to get on social media if that's something that you're not really comfortable with. So, all right. Now that we got that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All we're going to do for the duration of this little intro video is just talk about the syllabus. So this is the syllabus day, so you can kind of get an idea not just about what the class might be about a little bit, but also kind of what the flow is going to be. And we're going to talk about like the major assignments. There's really not many assignments, so I guess they're all kind of major, but whatever. Okay, so if you want to read a more specific description of the course, it's here, but when we get to the schedule, I'll give you a little more details about that too. But just some logistical things. So this is a course that was originally set up to be taught over the course of whatever, a 15, 16 week semester. And obviously this summer, we're going to be doing it in 6 weeks. So there's going to be some interesting consolidation points here. But everything that I had in the original class from when I taught it, I have worked in and it's just now in a very consolidated format. So just keep that in mind. Like sometimes it's going to seem like, whoa, there's a lot of readings here. And that's true, but that's because originally these readings were supposed to be spread out over, maybe a couple of weeks, and now you only have 1 week to do them or things like that. So just, I would recommend looking ahead and just sort of like pacing yourself so you can see what's coming up and prepare for that. Um, now, I have my office here, but I don't plan on being in my office at all in the next 6 weeks. So I don't try to find me there. The best way to find me is email. And if you email me, then and if you want to set up a meeting, I love talking on the phone. We can do Zoom. If we're doing Zoom, I may or may not be wearing a pajama top or when we do it or whatever, because, I really am not going to campus a whole lot, but I'm happy to meet and my schedule really is flexible and during the summer. So please just give me, I have here like 24, 48 hours notice and we can probably work out something that works for both of our schedules if you need to talk. Um, Here are some course objectives, blah, blah, blah. Most of the readings for this course are going to be on eCampus. They're not things that you're going to need to buy or pay for or anything like that. There's one exception, and it's this guy right here. It's very thin. Can you see that? It's like a little workbook. Like if you open it up, you can see that like, yeah, it's not like really a book. It's like a workbook. Um, I like it because the second part of this class is going to be talking about branding. And then the end of the class is going to be talking about, after you really think about what a brand is, and it might not be what you think it is, what your brand is. And I loved the questions in this little book that really help walk people through the things that you would need to think about in order to develop your own brand. Some questions are going to be helpful for some of you, and some aren't going to be helpful, whatever. Everybody can kind of, I feel, get what they need out of this and then kind of, dismiss the rest. So I want everybody to get this. Now, I won't know if you get it or not. So the way I have it structured, it's not like you're going to turn this in or anything like that. Each week in this class, we have, well, not each, sorry, I'm getting my weeks and whatever. Each unit in this class has reflection questions to go along with it. And I've integrated the questions from this little workbook to be part of your reflection questions for that week. So you do need to, have access to this, but you're not going to submit this. You're just going to submit reflections that I walk you through on eCampus each week. So go ahead and get this. You're not going to be able to get it in the WVU library because I didn't order it there, but you should be able to find it for pretty cheap on Amazon. You should be. And again, even if you get it used and somebody else's answers are in there, I mean, that would be kind of weird. But in theory, there's nothing wrong with it because I just want you to be able to go through the questions. So go ahead and try to get your hands on that. You won't need it the first week, but maybe as soon as the second week. I don't know. I'll look at it when we go to the back. But like I said, everything else is going to be stuff that I post on eCampus for you. Some of these things are going to be like things I found off the internet, like just some pop press readings that I thought were really good. Occasionally, I might even have you watch like a short video. And then this is a master's level class, so it's really important for me, as much as possible, to assign peer-reviewed academic articles on different topics we're talking about. It's not gonna be a regular thing. Again, I really try to vary the readings in this class, but a lot of times you will have these peer-reviewed articles. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because how to put this politely. Us academics sometimes write in a dry fashion, and for that reason, it does take a little bit of a longer time to read sometimes. So just be aware that if we have an academic article that you need to read, you might want to give yourself a little bit more time with that. That said, do I have this up here? Let me see. The other thing I do is I do have these summary lectures, and the lectures aren't for each specific unit. It's really a lecture to sort of give you a summary of the module as a whole. And in those lectures, I really try to break down the parts of the readings that I think are the most important. So if you find yourself really kind of lost in the weeds with some of these bigger articles and you're just like, okay, I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to get out of this, hopefully those summary lectures can be helpful to you. Some of you might not even want to watch the summary lectures. I try to set up the class so you can kind of just access what you need to be successful with the material. So just whatever, try out whatever you think works for you. As I mentioned, social network sites, it's not going to be something that like you necessarily need to like get on and do anything with, but you will want to have access to see what other people are doing on social media. Most specifically for the last part, and the last little reflection paper I have for you. This is all just sort of like, how do you get in touch with me? What happens if I reach out to you? I'm not really, it's pretty self-explanatory, so I'll skip that. But now into the specific assignments. So first, you do need to take a syllabus quiz, which is going to be, you watch this video. As soon as you're done with it, you could just go see if you get all the answers from the quiz. Even if you don't watch this video, which I guess you're not seeing this right now, just read the syllabus, take the syllabus quiz, and that's like your first little assignment that you need to get done. You can take the quiz as many times as you need in order to get all of your points, because the whole goal is I just want you to answer all the questions right. Then, as I mentioned, and I didn't change it, you have weekly reflection questions. I should have said unit reading reflection questions. Again, sorry, that was because I was trying to adapt it for more regular semester. But basically, if you go on eCampus, you'll see there are these little modules, and then the modules are decided. Well, here, I'll just skip ahead here. You can see it at the end of the syllabus too. Like Each of these sections, like you've got course introduction and then you've got professional identity work part two, whatever. All of this stuff used to be different weeks. And so what I've had to do is sort of, combine them so it's not weeks anymore. Now you have to do all of this stuff in just one week, you know? But for each of these little components, there is a reflection. Um, you could call it a quiz if you want, a reflection activity where it asks you questions about the things that you just read or that you just watched. And you sometimes will have to answer them in terms of like, oh, true or false. I just want to make sure if you're understanding the content. Some of it is a lot more it's more asking you to apply some of the concepts to your own life. So some of these would be more like open-ended questions, those types of things. It's really just going to vary depending on what we cover. But you can see I've got it spelled out here where it's like, okay, there's a reflection question that's going to be attached with these things. And then there's also a reflection question that's going to be attached with these things. It's a set of questions, not just a question. And in this case, they're both going to be due on July 6th. So these are basically what used to be several weeks just got collapsed into 1 week for the summer session. So that's why that is. So you got to make sure that you finish both of these by July 6th. But then the next week, there's only one reflection question set due on July 13th. You kind of following me here? And actually, the reason for that is because you actually have a little integration paper due at the same time. So let's talk about what those integration papers are. Um, those integration papers are oh, actually, I should mention, you can see here, so everything in this class is due on Sunday, everything except for the last week of school. And that's just because the semester literally ends on a Friday. So for the very last week, all of that stuff's going to be due on Friday, but anything else that you have due should be due on the Sunday of the week that it's assigned. Um, so these integration papers are, they're mini papers. These are not supposed to be large research papers. They're supposed to be places for you to integrate, hence the word integration, the different things that you've read for the unit and then apply them to some sort of issue. Each integration paper has its own issue. So, lo and behold, the first thing that we're going to be talking about in this class is professional identity and what is a professional identity. So the integration paper is going to be something that asks you to take the things that you've read, cite them. For those of you who are in my social marketing class, you know I really like integration of the course material, like where you actually, you know, go back and make specific reference to it and then apply it to um, whatever's going on in your life, well, not whatever I'm asking you to talk about in your own life. Um, and so, I have the more details about these assignments posted on eCampus, but here's something that's really important. There are three like overarching modules in this class. And, if you look here, they're kind of color coded. You've got the yellow, the peach, and then the blue. Okay. And then you can see there's an integration paper that's assigned for each little at the end of each unit. And you do, unfortunately, because of the 6 week thing, you're going to need to kind of start working on the integration paper at the same time that you're finishing up these little modules. So, just keep that in the back of your head. And you can see this is a really quick module, whereas the last one, it goes on for a little bit longer. But the thing I wanted to point out is, so there are the three of these little papers that you have to do. You got to submit them to me on eCampus. But technically, I'm only going to count grades for two of them. So what this means is technically there are three integration papers. You only have to do two. If you do all three, I'll take your two highest grades. But have this work for your advantage, to your advantage. If you, for instance, get sick and are like, I just cannot do this integration paper. Well, guess what? You're in luck because if you skip an integration paper, it's not necessarily the end of the world. There are still two other opportunities. Maybe, this is what I would do. I would try to do the first two integration papers. And if I liked my grade on those first two, then I wouldn't worry about the third one, right? Because the last week of school is going to be hectic and blah, 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 blah. I think that's kind of the smartest thing to do. And then if you didn't like one of your grades on one of your integration papers, you'll still have that opportunity to make it up with a third one. So just to be clear, there are 3 integration papers, but I'm only going to count grades for 2 of them. So that does kind of give you a little bit of a freebie, if you want to call it that. And here, you only have to complete 2 of them in order to earn all available points. Okay. But that's it. So you can see here, syllabus quiz, get that done this week. Then you got to do these weekly reflection questions, which really aren't by the week, but unit reflection questions. Then you've got to do 2 integration papers, and that is what your grade in this class is based on. Um, oh, and sorry, I should have mentioned this too. You also get freebie for weekly reflection questions because even though I think, gosh, I gotta count them again. I think there's here. Did I wait? Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so look, there's 11 reflection questions, but I'm only counting 10. So if there's some time, if you forget one of those weekly reflection questions or whatever, or there's just something you can't get to it, there is like a little bit of leeway in there. Again, I wouldn't recommend like counting on it. Just, try to do all you can. And then like best case scenario, you just don't have to do the last ones. I think that's just the safest bet to do. But there is sort of that little guardrail in there for you. Um, okay. And the other stuff, I already mentioned these summary lectures, hopefully they will be helpful to you. They're a little long because I'm trying to consolidate the whole module in there. So you might just want to like chop it up and go a little at a time. But the nice thing is, hopefully, it'll also help you get a sense of the overall picture about how all that stuff like fits together. Everybody has a different way they want to go through this course. And then all this other stuff is just stuff to cover my ass. I don't know, like, the type of stuff that comes up, like policies and stuff, but some of you like probably won't, this will not be relevant to you at all, but feel free to read it. Like, don't sell my course material. I don't know. I was told a long time ago that some students do that, and so I should watch out for it. But it's never happened, and maybe it's because I have it in my syllabus. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, take please. I think the challenge of this class is just going to be sort of, just like all these asynchronous courses, you have to be like kind of self-motivated and you have to be on top of keeping up with everything. So let this little schedule be your guide and just check off and make sure that you've done all of these things by these dates. And I really think you should be fine. I don't normally do this for lots of reasons, but in the summer I get a little, I guess you could say, more relaxed. Um, Even though I'm not sure if it works in students' favor. But I will go ahead and release all of the content for this entire semester. So you can, I mean, in theory, but there's a caveat. In theory, you could in one week complete this all of the work for this whole course, okay? And I won't say anything about it uh, when you do it. I will say something about it now. I do not think you should do that. I think that it's too much and the quality probably won't be very good. Also, you can't, if you end up turning in assignments really early, I won't be grading them. I like to grade everybody's assignment at the same time because that's how it helps me sort of gauge where everybody is. Sometimes my grading, I'm like too strict or something, but if I'm grading all of everybody's stuff all together, I realize, oh, this isn't them, this is me, or vice versa. It's just it's much better, I think, for everyone if I pace my own self and everything. So again, you do you. Do whatever you got to do, but don't expect to get a grade before the deadline ever on any of these things. I mean, maybe occasionally like you'll get something a day or two early, but I'm just saying don't expect it. And please do, you know what's best for you. And I know people have vacations and all sorts of stuff going on and all that stuff. But this this course is designed to, it's not like if you were in my social marketing class, it's not like a step-by-step thing, like the social marketing process. It's not like that at all. But I did put this together to build, right? So that after you're done thinking about this, it makes sense to start thinking about this. And only after you've done these 2 modules do I think that you can really think through all of these things, kind of. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Even if you do this in a really accelerated way, please do at least try to like go in order and because I think it'll not just help you get a better grade because things will make more sense, but I do think you'll get more out of the class that way. So, but that's pretty much it. I say as I've been talking for like 30 minutes or something. Um, I saw a lot of familiar faces or a lot of familiar names on the roster. For those of you who've been in my class in the past, this is a very, if you were in the social marketing class, this is a very different type of course. But I don't know. I hope that if you liked the course, you'll still like this one. And I hope that if you hated that course, that this one you'll like a lot better because it is whatever. It's very different, but same person. So I don't know, you know. But I am looking forward to it. Again, this is really sort of like hands off. So please, please don't be a stranger and reach out. If you have any questions, especially I'm also transitioning to the new eCampus Ultra, which is really new for me. So I appreciate your patience ahead of time with me getting used to all the settings and everything. And if you see something that seems like a little off, it very well could be. So please don't hesitate to reach out, let me know, ask any questions you have. I think we're going to be in that bit together. But okay, I'm looking forward to it. Have a great rest of your summer, and I hope this is a great semester for all of us. So bye.